Shalom, ladies and gentlemen. Today, as always, we'll be talking about our weekly Torah portion, Parshas Vayera, second Torah portion in the book of Shemot. And here we already have the standoff between Moshe and Pharaoh when they're standing by the Nile, and Moshe presents his case to the king of Egypt. Obviously, they met before. The story of Moshe begins in the previous weekly Torah portion when Moshe grows up in the house of Pharaoh and become completely absorbed in Egyptian culture, or rather, Egyptian culture became absorbed in him to the extent that when he meets the Yitro daughters by the well, when he runs away from Egypt, discovering his Jewish identity, they present him as to their father as an Egyptian man. And from that moment, we see like stage by stage how Moshe grows to be a leader of the Jewish people that will confront Pharaoh by the Nile in our weekly Torah portion. When I read those psukim that talks about Moshe's development as a Jewish leader, it seems that Torah specifically tried to prove that he is not he is not our guy. He is not the one that can stand in front of Pharaoh and confront entire Egypt and represent the case of Jewish people, because he says himself, I'm not your guy. I don't know how to talk nicely. And he said, the Jewish people will not trust me because I wasn't raised as a Jewish leader in a proper Jewish education. I was raised in the Egyptian house of kingdom. I was an Egyptian prince. And yes, when he tells Hashem that the Jewish people will not listen to him, they didn't for their own reasons. He comes back to Hashem and pleads his case and say, I'm not the person that can talk. I cannot represent. We know the story that Moshe Rabbeinu had a problem with his speech. Hashem gives him, partners him with his brother Aaron, who is not a young guy, as well as Moshe, 80 years old, and Aaron is 83 years old. They're not young, charismatic leaders with a beautiful rhetorics who can inspire the masses and bring people behind them and stroll to the freedom. No. They are not the leaders that we think that we should have. And especially today, when a person is running for the office for president, vice president, for prime minister, whatever, but they always presented to us as a perfect people for the job, with a beautiful family pictures, with a great experience. Nobody talks about the flaws, only the opponents. We are presented with the perfect leaders. On the other hand, Pharaoh, he is a true leader. He is a stronghold of the Egypt. He is feared by entire nation. He is respected by entire nation. He is equal to God. He presented to Egyptian people to God, and Moshe, lacking of self-confidence, with the insecurities, the guy that cannot talk properly, he's the one to plead our case against Pharaoh by the Nile. But here is the point. Where Moshe meets Pharaoh, he meets him by the Nile. And yes, Pharaoh was presented to the Egyptian people as a god, as a shining leader who brings his light to the entire Egyptian people. But Moshe knew he is a human. And this is why he meets him by the Nile early in the morning before Pharaoh gets to the office and start to present him as a god. He is a human who simply needs to go to the bathroom. But think about this. What insecurity you can have when you cannot present yourself as a human that simply goes to the bathroom and have a normal human needs. You hide it from other people because you're afraid that you will not be respected enough. This is a complete insecurity. Our leaders are different. They're not perfect. I think here we continue the theme of the book of Bereshit when Ramban, Nachmanides present the idea of the Maaseh Avot Siman Lebanim, that the stories of our fathers, they're examples for our children, for us, because if we will consider our fathers simply holy, perfect, holy superheroes, there is nothing to be connected to. We are not superheroes, we are human. This is why, according to Ramban, our fathers in the book of Bereshit are presented to us as imperfect leaders with their human flaws. Avram with his mistakes and the problems with the family life. Yitzchak with his own demons. Yaakov, who all his life was about a lie and misrepresentation. Yosef, who better than everybody else. Judah, who brutally confront Yosef and the reason why he ends up in Egypt. King David, the father of the Jewish kingship dynasty, he himself admits his flaws and his sins in the story of Bathsheba, and especially Moshe. Yes, he is not flawless. He is an imperfect leader, but only then we can connect with our leaders, because they're human. They have their own flaws, but they do the job. They're still the leaders. We do not create a new Pharaoh, a perfect leader that you cannot connect to. No, our leaders are imperfect, and this is why we can use them as examples in our lives. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week. Good luck.